Poor old Father Hell must be spinning in his crypt. "Hi there, stranger," said a brassy, buxom redhead in an emerald-green costume so skimpy it must have been spray-painted onto her. She waggled a vial of some grayish-looking powder in my general direction, exhorting, "Join the fun!" Fun. The place looked like Dante's Inferno. There was nowhere to sit except for a few couches along the walls, and they were already filled with writhing tangles of naked bodies. Everyone else was on their feet, packed in shoulder to shoulder, dancing or swaying and surging like the waves of some multi-hued, gabbling, aimless human sea. High up near the smooth rock ceiling, a pair of acrobats in sequined harlequin costumes were walking a tightrope strung across the chamber. A set of spotlights made their costumes glitter. On Earth, performing that high up would have been dangerous. Here on the moon they could still break their necks if they fell, or more likely break the necks of the people they fell upon. The place was so tightly packed it would have been impossible for them to hit the floor. "Come on," the redhead urged again, pawing at the sleeve of my pullover. She giggled and said, "Don't be so twangy." "Where is Martin Humphries?" I had to shout to be heard over the din of the party. She blinked her emerald-tinted eyes. "Hump? The birthday boy?" Turning uncertainly toward the crowd and waving her hand vaguely, she yelled back, "The old humper's around here someplace. It's his party, you know." "The old humper is my father," I told her, enjoying the sudden look of astonishment on her face as I brushed past her. It was a real struggle to work my way through the crowd. Strangers, all of them. I didn't know anyone there, I was certain of that. None of my friends would be caught dead at a scene like this. As I pushed and elbowed my way through the jam-packed chamber, I wondered if my father knew any of these people. He'd probably rented them for the occasion. The redhead certainly looked the type. He knows I can't take crowds, and yet he forced me to come here. Typical of my loving father. I tried to shut out the noise, the reek of perfume and tobacco and drugs and the slimy sweat of too many bodies pressed too close together. It was making me weak in the knees, twisting my stomach into knots. I can't deal with this kind of thing. It's too much. I felt as if I would collapse if there weren't so many bodies crowded around me. I was starting to get dizzy, my vision blurring. I had to stop in the midst of the mob and squeeze my eyes shut. It was a struggle to breathe. I had taken my regular enzyme shot just before the transfer rocket had landed, yet I felt as if I needed another one, and quickly. I opened my eyes and surveyed the jostling, noisy, sweaty throng again, searching for the nearest exit. And then I saw him. Through the tangle of weaving, gesticulating partygoers, I spotted my father, sitting up on a dais at the far end of the cavern like some ancient Roman emperor surveying an orgy. He was even clad in a flowing robe of crimson, with two beautifully supple young women at his sandaled feet. My father. 100 years old this day. Martin Humphries didn't look any more than 40. His hair was still dark, his face firm and almost unlined. But his eyes were hard, knowing. They glittered with corrupt pleasure at the scene being played out before him. He had used every rejuvenation therapy he could get his hands on, even illegal ones such as nanomachines. He wanted to stay young and vigorous forever. I thought he probably would. He always got what he wanted. But one look into his eyes, and it was easy to believe that he was 100 years old. He saw me shouldering through the strident, surging crowd, and for a moment those cold gray eyes of his locked onto mine. Then he turned away from me, with an impatient frown clouding his handsome, artificially youthful face. "You insisted that I come to this carnival," I said to him silently, "so like it or not, here I am." He paid no attention to me as I toiled to reach him. I was gasping now, my lungs burning. I needed a shot of my medication, but I had left it back at my hotel suite. When at last I reached the foot of his dais, I slumped against the soft, pliable fabric draped over the platform, struggling to catch my breath. Then I realized that the strident din of the party had dropped to a buzzing, muted whisper. "Sound dampers," my father said, glancing down at me with his old disdainful smirk. "Don't look so stupid." There were no steps up to the platform, and I felt too weak.